Hi, I'm Sarah Franklin, and I'm a carnivore nutritionist. I have been eating a carnivore diet for over 7 years, but let's not just talk about me. I have helped hundreds of clients figure this out for them because carnivore diets, yes, it's simple. You just eat meat. However, there's so much more to it than that. And this is why I'm going to break down the top mistakes today, not just in about fat loss, because that is usually what I specialize in, is helping clients lose body fat, but overall carnivore mistakes that can be holding you back from your goals, stopping you from feeling your best. And hopefully we can figure those out and you can learn something from this. And then if you need extra support, I'm always here to help. So first, let's chat about carnivore diet. When you are starting out, the number one mistake I see is eating enough. If you're transitioning from a high carb diet, you're going to need to eat everything carnivore to stay carnivore. So week one is going to look a lot different than once you become fat adapted, because as you're adapting, you do need more fat to get your body to learn how to use that fat as fuel. But this doesn't take forever, and you don't need tons and tons of fat for good, especially if you have a lot of body fat to lose. So I'm not going to talk about specific numbers because this is where people get things wrong. And they'll tell you a generic macro ratio or grams you should eat a day. And that's not what it's about. It's about learning how your body works and how you use fuel, whether you're, burning fat or burning glucose, because you should be able to become metabolically flexible, which is being able to use both. So starting out, initially with a carnivore diet, you want to eat enough to stay carnivore and avoid all those temptations, those carb cravings, all of that. The next piece I want to talk about is fasting. So fasting is very different. And what constitutes a real fast is, in my opinion, anything over 24 hours. That is extended fasting. Anything else is just time restricted eating. And you're going to eat less often eventually when you are on a carnivore diet because you're more nourished. You eat in bigger portions usually. You can eat a bigger meal. It's going to keep you full longer. Most people fall within about 2 meals a day. Some may still need to have three, but this is something that will depend. But what I do not recommend is daily 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day is just going to be calorie restriction in fasting clothing. It's going to lower your metabolism because you're giving yourself less fuel. People cannot eat enough in 1 meal. I can eat almost 2 pounds in 1 meal. I need that twice a day to actually be nourished. So eating only half of what you're able to eat in a day is not going to be enough long term, even if you have body fat to lose. And this is when people start restricting, which is going to lead me to my next point about restricting food on a carnivore diet. We need to approach this differently. And calories are not the answer. We understood that because we know that it's more hormonal, that you're lowering insulin, you're addressing your hormones so that you can actually tap into stored body fat. Because when insulin's high, it's impossible to access stored body fat as fuel. That being said, if you're restricting too much food on carnivore, you are not really giving your body the benefits of a carnivore diet. So you need to eat enough food. And I can say I have hundreds of clients that majority of them are not eating enough food, but it's rarely that they are not eating enough fat. Going to say that again. It's rarely that they are not eating enough fat. If you're prioritizing red meat, eggs, you are most likely getting enough fat, but you may not be getting enough protein. So protein is always the priority. You're not going to be having a stick of butter with a small little burger patty. That is going to not give you enough fuel. You're absolutely going to lose hair. You're going to have problems. I see people swing too far in either direction. They're either eating only chicken breasts or they're eating sticks of butter. So stick in the middle, prioritize protein, eat red meat, fuel your body appropriately. And if you need to understand how this works, I can teach you how to use this for your metabolism, because somebody who has no body fat to lose, who is very active, is going to need a lot more protein to fuel their body than somebody that's sedentary, sitting in an office doing nothing all day. So It's not that calories don't matter. Calories are not what matters. It's energy. And if you're having too much energy than what your body needs, you're not going to see results. If you're giving your body exactly what it needs, you're not going to see results either. So we need to find the sweet spot. So while we're talking about what constitutes carnivore foods, another thing that can really hold people back in terms of results or seeing fat loss is dairy or even feeling their best. Conventional, pasteurized, commercial dairy does not allow a lot of people to feel their best. All dairy is not created equal. Some people can still not tolerate it, even if it's the most perfect raw fermented dairy as well. So it's your terrain, it's your environment. If it's causing problems, you can try eliminating it. So when it does come to dairy, it should always be a condiment. If you can, choose raw and choose fermented because there's going to be less sugar, the carnivore carbohydrate, lactose in fermented dairy. Okay, so while I was talking about dairy being an issue, another thing that can be holding you back in terms of seeing results or feeling your best is eating too many carb replacement treats. So things that have been carnivorized or ketoized, I don't know what we would say for that, but making a pizza or ice cream or tortillas and all of these fun things that people have come up with using powdered milk and usually a lot of dairy for recipes that are already hyper palatable and things that are easy to overeat. So those are things that I would try to refrain from. You need to eat more meat on a plate. So try to keep it simple. Go back to basics. That's a huge thing, is focusing on the meat. The simple and the boring is probably what you need. Something else I want to address is the results you are seeing. How are you measuring that? Are you just getting on the scale and saying, I didn't lose anything and this has not been a success? Because that's not how this works. Weight loss is different than fat loss. And you've probably lost weight before by restricting calories and other things where you lose muscle, organs change sizes, you lose hair, you lose bone, but the scale went down, so it's a win. What we really want to do is lose fat and keep muscle. You want to build bone. You want to retain all of your hormones and your thyroid and keep your metabolism high. And that's what building muscle does. It is going to give you a higher basal metabolic rate at rest. So you're technically burning more fuel at all times. And you'll actually get smaller because muscle takes up less space than fat. So swapping this, I've had clients where they lose 2 pounds, but they lose two sizes, or they have weigh the same and they feel smaller and they feel better and they look for that toned look that you're looking for. You are actually going to have more muscle than you think. So building muscle is huge. Now, things that you could do to measure that, taking photos, how your clothes fit. An MRI would be ideal. A DEXA scan can be even something to be used as a guide to know, are you losing fat? Are you losing muscle? That can help. Taking a tape measure and measuring inches. Every little bit counts. So you may not see that 1/4 inch that you lost on your waist because you see yourself every day, but it's happening and it's progress. Other non-scale victories. How are you sleeping? Are you sleeping through the night? Are your cycles regular? Is your skin clearing up? Are your hair and your nails stronger? So try to look for other things. Are you calmer? Do you have more energy? These are all other things to measure other than just the body size, but it will come if you're doing the things correctly. Body recomposition and fat loss will happen, but weight loss is faster, and that's not what we want. We want fat loss. That being said, if you're not seeing results, there could be things holding you back. And that's why I'm talking about these mistakes. And one of them, again, is under eating protein. The leaner you are, the more protein you need, the more muscle you have, the more protein you need, because protein is now going to be not only fulfilling what your muscle demands are, it is also fulfilling your glucose needs because you're not eating carbohydrates. You don't need gobs of fat. Your body has fat. The meat has fat with it. This is not eating low fat in any way. It's eating adequate fat with prioritizing protein. This is going to fuel your body, fuel your hormones, your metabolism, and everything that you need to feel your best. So look at what you're eating. I know it's not fun to track, and you don't have to track, but you may want to just look what you're actually eating. Take a typical day of what you eat, plug it into a free app like Carb Manager, and just look at the number of grams of protein, grams of fat, overall calories. And not that I'm saying the calories are the biggest thing, but if it's 900 in a day, that's not enough. And you can get a guide and understand what you're actually eating first before you go changing everything. Because when I work with clients one-on-one, I have them fill out a food journal. What are you eating? Where are we starting from? Sometimes I'll have them send me pictures of their meals because that's even easier for them to do. But I want to see what you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with your hand as a guide so I can understand what normal eating looks like for you. So if you just want to see what you're at, you don't need to track every day, but get an idea of where you are. That can be really, really helpful. And lastly, don't just copy what somebody else is doing. If you saw somebody eating a stick of butter a day and they had amazing results, good for them. But what about you? That doesn't address what your body needs. So copying what somebody's doing online is not what you may need. If they're already at a maintenance goal, or if they're already at their weight, their goal weight, they have no health problems, they have a totally different need than you may. If you have to lose 40 pounds, if you have to lose 10 pounds, if you've been under eating for years. So all of these things are, where are you in the journey? The foundations stay the same, but the time that you're in is going to have a different approach. And maybe you need to become fat adapted. Maybe you do need to lose this body fat and you're very insulin resistant. This is why it can be super helpful to personalize this for you. Comment below, tell me what you're struggling with, because that's what I do. I work one-on-one every day, helping people find their potential and their best version of a carnivore diet. It's not just eat meat. It would be great if it were, but there's so much more involved. You need to also be hydrating. You need to be digesting your food properly. All of this takes time. All of this cannot happen overnight. We didn't get here overnight. We ate foods that weren't good for us for years. We have things that need to be fixed under the surface, and there's a lot that is happening all at once. So if you are stuck when it comes to seeing results or feeling your best, but no, carnivore is what you should be doing because you know you feel better than you've ever did, you're just not there yet, let me help you. And if you're ready and you want to hear a little bit more about what I do and how I work with clients, I can help you map out your fat loss journey for free. So comment breakthrough and you can schedule a fat loss breakthrough call where there's no strings attached. We can chat about what's going on with you and if what may be a good fit and how to address this for you. So please don't give up, stay positive and stay carnivore. But if it's not working, reach out for some help. Thanks for watching and eat meat, burn fat, and get buff.